The Forgotten Dragon. On a forgotten backwater planet, nestled among the stars, a mechanic named Marcus lived a simple, isolated life. His days were spent working on rusted ships, repairing engines, and fixing whatever broken equipment was brought to him by travelers. The hum of engines and the constant clatter of tools were his only companions in a world that seemed indifferent to his existence. But one day, that quiet, ordinary life would change forever, though he wouldn't realize it at the time. It was an ordinary evening when the sky above his small workshop darkened, not with clouds, but with the shadow of something vast and unknown. The ground shook with an impact, and the air was thick with the scent of burning ozone. Marcus, cursing under his breath, ran outside, his heart racing as the sounds of crumpling metal and distant roars filled the air. He stumbled upon a wreck, an alien craft, something he had never seen before, lying broken in the field just beyond his shop. What caught his eye, however, wasn't the ship. It was what lay next to it, a creature like no being he had ever seen. An enormous, majestic dragon, its skin a pale, iridescent white, its wings cracked and mangled, stained with the dust of 1,000 forgotten worlds. The dragon's eyes met Marcus's, its gaze intelligent and filled with a strange mixture of sorrow and trust. In that moment, Marcus didn't hesitate. Though he knew little about intergalactic diplomacy or alien species, he recognized one thing. This creature was in pain, and it needed help. He approached cautiously, his hands trembling, and with a mechanic's precision, he did what he could to stabilize the beast. Using makeshift materials and his knowledge of engineering, Marcus worked through the night, patching up the dragon's broken wing as best as he could. The dragon, though still weak, seemed to understand. It nuzzled his hand in gratitude, its enormous, sharp teeth mere inches from his face, yet its breath was warm, and its eyes were full of a deep, unspoken understanding. And just like that, Marcus made a promise he would soon forget. He would never let the creature suffer again. The next morning, the dragon was gone. Marcus searched the surrounding area for days, but there was no sign of the beast. With no one to witness, he convinced himself it had been a dream, a hallucination caused by the stress of too many long nights. Life returned to its routine, and the incident faded into the recesses of his memory. Years passed, but the universe, as it is wont to do, does not forget. It was a stormy night, much like the one so many years ago, when Marcus received a transmission. The screen crackled to life, revealing an image he could scarcely believe. The albino dragon, larger now, its scales gleaming like polished diamonds, its wings restored and strong. Behind it was a fleet, alien ships that glittered with unfamiliar technology. But it wasn't just the dragon that had returned. There was something else in its eyes, something that made Marcus's heart skip a beat. Recognition. The dragon spoke, not with words, but through images, emotions, and memories. The creature's voice was as ancient as the stars themselves, echoing through the fabric of Marcus's mind. It showed him the years it had spent wandering the galaxy, its journeys bringing it to the brink of death, its body healing, its heart growing colder with each passing day. But then it came back, because it remembered the one who had saved it. It had returned, not just for Marcus's help, but to repay a debt. The galaxy was in turmoil. An empire, vast and merciless, was beginning to lay waste to entire civilizations, and the time had come for a reckoning. The dragon was no mere beast. It was a guardian, a living weapon of unimaginable power, and it was Marcus's ally. But Marcus had forgotten. The mechanic now found himself caught in a war that transcended his understanding, fighting not just for survival, but for the freedom of countless worlds. The dragon, once fragile and broken, was now a symbol of hope and vengeance, and Marcus, who had only ever wanted to live quietly, was thrust into the heart of an intergalactic struggle that would change everything. The Empire would fall, the dragon would rise, and Marcus? He would be the one to stand at its side, the mechanic who had once forgotten, now the herald of a new beginning.